think now, when I hear a Doors song, I'm gonna get a little scared. What's happening, film friends? David the Film Junkie here, bringing you a film review of Deliver Us from Evil, which is really stupid title. Deliver Us from Evil is directed by Scott Derrickson, who did Emily Rose, The Exorcism, Emily Rose, so he's kind of obsessed with this whole exorcism thing. And he also did Sinister, both movies that were well received by audiences and critics, so naturally it's like, oh, okay, this guy's got some. He's also going to be directing Doctor Strange for Marvel, so that's cool. And of course it stars Mr. Eric Bana, Olivia Munn, and Joel McHale, who's tatted up, a cop, and he's like a badass knife fight person. That came out of left field. And what's happening in this movie, Eric Bana, of course, plays a New York cop, like right out of the fucking Bronx, man. The fucking Bronx! It was kind of weird hearing him talk in that accent, but it's okay. And then him and his partner, Mr. McHale, well, weird shit starts happening. Of course, you get this from the TV trailer, you know, they go to this zoo and this chick is like scraping at the ground and everything. She's all crazy and naturally, Eric Bana's character is like, oh, she's crazy, she's a Looney Tune, blah, 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 what the hell is going on, this is weird. But then other weird shit starts to happen, and then shit starts to happen to his family, so he's trying to figure out what's going on. He teams up with this, like, priest dude who's, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, well, I don't even know what his name is. This guy's like, oh, I've seen this before, so we're gonna do this, and, you know, he's just like this cool, suave priest. And of course, naturally, Eric Bana's character doesn't believe it at first because he was raised Catholic, and then at 12 years old, he was like, you know what, I just stopped believing in God because of this, because of that, you know, normal cliche stuff. And what did I think of Deliver Us from Evil? It was alright. It wasn't anything spectacular. I mean, Sinister, I actually really dug Sinister. It was creepy, and just watching it, I was like, huh, and I love the way it ended. It ended on such a fucked up downer. Eric Bana, I like Eric Bana. I mean, in his movies, he does a great job in his movies, but, you know, his character, of course, plays that cliche, like, I don't believe in God anymore, you know, and then all of a sudden, weird shit happens, and he's totally trying to be like, she's just crazy, she's on medication, blah, 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 and it's like, shut the fuck up. And it has all the cliches that these movies have, you know, your normal stuff. I mean, some of it's pretty creepy. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes there were certain times where I was like, yeah. But of course it has those dumb jump scares where something jumps out and it's like a cat or a dog, or I hate those. It's just a cheap thing. I mean, I can understand maybe once in a while, maybe once or twice in a movie, but not all the fucking time. And then when he starts believing what's going on, and the priest guy is trying to like, hey, you gotta confess your sins, and blah, 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 and then he realizes something else that I won't spoil, and it was kind of like, oh, okay. And a lot of people are comparing this to like The Exorcist or even The Exorcism of Emily Rose, as well as Seven. And I could see that because I kind of like the tone of this movie, because you're in the Bronx, you're deep in the Bronx, and it's always raining and it's at night, and I love that tone because that tone was relevant in Seven. I mean, of course, sometimes it took place in the day, but the way Fincher shot, the way he shoots his movies, he has such that dark tone, and I fucking love it. And I think Derrickson was trying to emulate that a little bit, but the filter he used, like, to, you know, because, you know, sometimes I change the filter up to make it look a little darker, it didn't quite complement that tone, and I was kind of going, it's too bright, nah. But sometimes it did work, like I said. Sometimes it was really creepy and everything like that, and when they finally do perform, like, this exorcism in this jail, it's pretty intense. It gets pretty intense, and it gets pretty damn gory. The gore in this movie is done pretty fantastically. Like, when you see some shit, you kind of go, oh. So overall, this movie is decent. If you want like a decent scare date movie or whatnot, go see it. Take your lady, you know, maybe you'll see her jump and she'll grip your arm a little bit, so you might end up getting laid that night. But it's not a movie where I'm gonna be like, oh, you guys gotta see this movie. It's so creepy. Oh my god, Joel McHale's like a badass cop dude, and it's really hard to take it seriously. But let me know if you saw Deliver Us from Evil down below in the balls area, and also hit that like, thumbs up button if you'd be so kind. Subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and visit filmjunkie.com, of course, for your latest in movie news, trailers, and film reviews. Well, alright guys, I'm David, the Film Junkie, and I brought you a film review of Deliver Us from Evil. See, I mean, that title right there, I always had a problem with it. I'm like, that title is a sentence, and no, why couldn't they just Deliver Us from Evil? I mean, I understand because they do, you know, deliver us from evil, and then of course you have the D in front, and then evil makes devil whole. Cheap, very cheap, and I'm just, yeah, they should have went with a different title. It's okay now. All right, talk to you later.